And here we go, people. Good Monday morning, good afternoon, wherever you're on. Well, this is Mick Ruby reporting from Thailand. This is my travelogue, as you all know. People that don't follow me, I'm on a digital nomad transformation. I'm traveling to Bali, Thailand, all over the shop for the next 4 months. So please do expect like exotic backgrounds like this. But listen, people, what a fantastic week of football we had within the World Cup. England is out. I'm sorry. Definitely for if you are an England fan, I'm sorry. Brazil is out. It's been just shocking because I was a Brazil supporter. We've seen Bruno coming out, with the controversial interview blaming FIFA for being a little bit corrupt, to say, look, it's funny that we had an Argentinian, the referee, and Argentina will probably get to the finals. That is so corrupt. That's just my opinion. But listen, we are getting closer to the Premier League, and the January transfer market is about to transpire. So let's dive into it. We have a lot of things to talk about today, but there is a big but, basically. So we are on the road on a 50k subscribers, and definitely we are just monetized, but we're not making anything. We put in a lot of money and time and efforts to make these kind of episodes for you. We're shaping a community where you can be real for real, a Red fan, wherever you are in the world. We want you to come on board, have your say, have your opinions, no matter where you are in the world. It is football, people. So please, if you do want, subscribe to our channel. But let's dive right into it. Let's go, people. Here we go.
Very heavily linked with Frankie de Jong.
Any of the injured players like to be available for the game this weekend? Are they still out?
You want Frankie? No, it's about the right place, and there are many, but I cannot give comments on the player who's under contract in another club when we are.
Oh, I know you just woke up from bed. It's Monday. I know it's a new week. You don't want to go to work. But listen, let's start with number one. It's your general financial report that came out to say the Glazers are freaking stint. And people around social media fan bases wondering, well, if they're stint, if they had 25 million left in the bank account, how can we invest in January? Fact debunk number one. Let me tell you how. The way Glazers and Manchester United PLC is operating is on a good credit line. Basically, the bank still thinks that United is good for another credit. Now, what does that mean? Well, we know we don't like the Glazers to take more debt, but the Glazers are actually planning to sell the club, and in order to pimp up more valuation, because our current squad evaluation is about around 760 million. If you add on another 100 million on top of that, that increased the value to spend. So Glazers are more likely to seek another credit to spend money in the January transfer window. I can see around roughly 80 to 100 million to spend. I don't think they will go that crazy, but it's been confirmed that Glazer will spend money in the transfer market. Even Ten Hag has gone out to bang the drum to say, I need a freaking striker. But hang on a second, Mick. Well, what about if they put more debt? What that's gonna mean? Well, basically the bank will say, with the new owners, they will just say, look, you want to take over this credit line, or you want to close the debt, and that's about it. So basically, when the Glazers are selling the club, they will sell the debt. The new owner has to buy out the debt or take over the credit line, the existing debt. I think they will just get rid of the debt and will be zero and start fresh, meaning fresh year valuation with the financial fair play as well. There we go.
I think one thing that all United fans are asking is what's happening in the January transfer window, because we've got that coming up. We know full well that, I mean, even before Ronaldo left the club, we needed a striker. But now that Ronaldo has left the club and those wages have left the bill, you spoke about that, how huge our wage bill was. There's an opportunity now for United to be active in the market. But at the same time, the Glazers are trying to sell. So you're thinking, well, what's going on here? Because you're putting in one direction and pushing in the other. What's the from a credit perspective? You say, I suppose we'll know. It's a shame that the reports aren't already out now. We can't see how much has actually gone on, but we can assume that at least part of it has been added on to that. Would the expectation be that the Glazers could do that again in January if they wanted to? For example, they add an extra 75 million onto the credit, we were to sign 1 or 2 players, that therefore increases the value of the squad, and I suppose the overall value of Manchester United as a football team, which they could then therefore add an extra X amount onto the sale of Manchester United. Is that likely to happen in January, or do you expect the Glazers to be like, no, we're selling, we're not spending anything?
I think you've correctly identified that there's 2 potential ways of looking at this. First of all, does Manchester United have the capacity? You know, would clubs and would financial institutions be willing to lend to Manchester United PLC? Without doubt, Manchester United generates a lot of cash. So I think Manchester United are credit worthy, which is a positive. There's also a case for saying, if you were selling your house, would you get a new kitchen installed just before you sold the house? Well, the chances are you're not going to get your money back on that. So I think you have to be a little bit cautious. If a full sale of Manchester United takes place, and I think this is one thing where, and I'm starting to row back on this because I'm getting noises from Anfield which suggests that lots of people are expecting FSG to sell the whole club. In my opinion, that's now becoming less likely, and they're more likely to go down the route that we've seen at Manchester City, where City have sold, around about 15, or rather the City Football Group have sold 15 to 20%, and still keep control. So if FSG sell 10% of Liverpool, then they're going to get 350, 400 million pounds potentially. They only paid 300 million to buy the whole thing just over a decade ago. So they're getting all of their money back, and they've still got 80 to 90% of the club. That could prove to be attractive to the Glazers. So I think we always have to be careful when looking at these sales. But in terms of investing in January, if the Glazers are going for a full sale, there's no reason why the deal could not be A, agreed, and B, completed by the end of the season. If you were wanting to buy Manchester United, you would want to buy the club as a club which is competing in the Champions League in 2023-24. In order to achieve that objective, you need to presumably invest in talent. So it could be in the Glazers' best interests to buy a player or 2 players. And I know nothing on the football side of things. It's not for me to say whether a player is good or bad. I just look purely at the numbers. But I'm fully aware of the difference between participating in the Champions League and participating in the Europa League. Realistically, for every £1 you make from the Europa League, you're probably going to make 5 from the Champions League. So a good run in the Europa League, you might make 30 million. A good run in the Champions League, you could be looking at 150 million by the time you factor in bonuses from sponsors, match day ticket sales at premium prices, and prize money from UEFA itself. So would a new owner be willing to pay more money for a club? Then I think that would be the case. So therefore, that could factor into the Glazers thinking. And also remember, they've got a new manager who's only just joined the club, who is willing to. You can't recruit somebody and then say, oh, by the way, we're turning off the taps a few months later.
And there we have it, crikey. It's just started to rain, so I have to move inside my hotel reception to continue recording this fantastic cracking episode for you. But you know what? United will not turn off the taps. I've been confirmed that there's going to be spendings in January, as Erik ten Hag has come on himself over the weekend demanding a striker. Now, who is that striker target? Well, during the last week, I had the football agent David Lavelle on my podcast show. The link is in that video description, where we actually discussed the transfer targets for the striker position. Now, in that podcast, it's quite clear and obvious that the January transfer market will transpire, will kick on after the World Cup is finished. And boy, oh boy, oh boy, do we have Cody Gakpo, which is about 70% on our hot meter. We know, in fact, that Cody Gakpo had a kind of a pre-agreement, a personal terms agreed back in June, July, and August with Manchester United, but it wasn't a lesser fee. You snooze, you lose, what the United fan base say, but you know what? That was Cristiano Ronaldo that kind of stopped it, because Cristiano Ronaldo decided to stay. And of course, the valuation with the player himself has gone up after a fantastic World Cup, and that's just normal practice. Another factor why prices are going up, because it's January and it's pretty much the seller's hand, you know, because sellers know that come January, that buyers are desperate, and this is a very critical position that they know that United is looking for. Hence why we're seeing kind of prices going up to 50 to 60 million euros, which was, they could have got him for 25 million back in summer. But that's just business, isn't it? Like, you know, we can criticize, but it's under circumstances. Ronaldo stayed. We decided not to do the deal. We had a pre-agreement in with PSV, with Ruud van Nistelrooy, and now the talks expect to transpire. But the thing is, what I tweeted out the other day, do we really need a winger to convert over to a striker? Is this the right move? I don't know. I see Gakpo as Henry Henry type. There's somebody that could learn the ropes while playing the understudy under Martial, which is kind of injury prone, but is it worth that kind of money to spend? Do we have that time? Because obviously we want to compete for European Champions League places and finishing in top 4 at least. Other targets, what I think could be plausible, would be such likes as Benjamin Sesko. And why I'm saying Sesko, a lot of people say, well, Mick, he signed a pre-agreement with from RB Salzburg to Leipzig, but it's the same club. But what we've seen, what a lot of people haven't missed out, is that Oliver Manslife, which is the CEO, group CEO of RB club, and also his agent Elvis Bosanovic, had met both Chelsea and United just before the World Cup to potentially discuss a transfer move. Now, why are they doing so? Well, hang on, just let me remind you, it's kind of a little bit of a financial recession time. Benjamin Sesko actually signed a pre-agreement, and that is kind of triggered in this summer 2023, so they're looking to cash in. So the basically valuation of Sesko is about 22 million. They're looking to cash in about 40, 45, up to 50, and this is a deal that United can do, because we know that Ten Hag was very much interested in Sesko. I think Sesko is a fantastic number 9. He's a tall stature, something that Erik Ten Hag, he likes tall target man. So it's kind of a Haaland type. He's still young, 21, 22, and can be a world-class striker within the right application and coaching. So there we go. I think Sesko, don't sleep on him. Another one that I think can happen, but I don't really want to happen, it is basically Barcelona is on the financial tits up, I might say. Excuse my language, but it's Memphis Depay, which is Barcelona is looking to offload. His contract is expiring this summer, but Barca is happy to offload him this January. There will be, of course, a free transfer. You don't have to pay, but you know, one thing with Memphis Depay, it comes with a big ego and big salary demands, so it's not going to be cheap. And is it a striker that we're really looking for? Don't know. But please let me know in your comments below.
Number 3, it is a familiar face that we've been linked to ever since back in the summer. We know that Erik Ten Hag was eyeballing him, he wanted him, but the same thing happened Ronaldo's day, and that is his fellow countryman João Felix. Jorge Mendes has been going out scouting, looking for the best opportunities for João. I mean, it's been reported that Atletico Madrid don't really see eye to eye with him. They're really unhappy with his performance. Simeone, we know, is a very pragmatic manager, and they've been having a little bit of fallout. So all the best for João Felix. But, you know, the transfer fee that they want is about 100 million. There's even opportunity in desperation that they're willing to offload him within full loan with an option to buy in the summer. And price tags also coming down in Barumi Mill to 85 mil. Do we need him? I don't know if he's the right fit. If Ten Hag seen something in him, then I would probably get on board with that. But the way, I think it's a little bit overrated. He hasn't really set the world on fire. He was a fantastic talent. Maybe he just looking for rejuvenate his career. Maybe Manchester United is the way, maybe Ten Hag. But for me personally, I don't see it. And why I don't see it is the overall price tag, knowing the budget might be limited. And I don't think, I think it's a little bit overrated. He hasn't set the world on fire. But, please, it's just my humble opinion. Please let me know what you think. Drop a comment in the comment box below. Now, another one that just came out fresh from the weekend is the Portuguese starlet from Benfica, Carlo Ramos. That's crazy because his valuation in the European market is on 25 million euros. President, as Rui Costa, is wanting about 120 whooping million for him. As I alluded before, it is the January, and Benfica, they don't really need to have to sell. But at the same time, everyone knows that Rui Costa is a very difficult customer. He never budges on his targets. If he says it's 100 million, it will be 100 million. If it's 120, it is 120 million. Timeline and history proves it that he's a very tough negotiator, meaning that he will not budge. Just takes the likes of when he sold, for instance, João Felix to Atletico Madrid for the fee of about 150, 120 million. That was the fee. He stood firm. They had to cough up. I don't see this one happening, people. It's way too much money and the extortion rate. So, but anyway, that's just my humble opinion for a person that had a decent season in the Portuguese league and had a decent kind of scored a hat trick in Portugal, one good game. It doesn't justify the price tag for me, and I think this is a lot of BS. It's not going to happen. I put it as a 20. But again, let me know what you think in the comments below. Now, in regards to the midfield position, the same thing applies to Enzo Fernandez. Again, Rui Costa, Benfica, don't see it happen. He will not budge the price. Doesn't want to sell, and I think it's not plausible for Fernandez to come at all. I haven't heard much about the midfield, just the potential things brewing around. I cannot 100% confirm that, so then I will just walk away. But the sensible thing, knowing that we are strapped with cash at the moment, is to sort of give the likes of the youth, play like likes of Iqbal, and yeah, there's a lot of games to be played. So I think Iqbal is a fantastic talent that deserves a run of games as well. I mean, we have Carabao Cup we can play, we have Europa League, and of course, we will see what the midfield targets will transpire. But at the moment, as I said, the prime target is a striker. Regarding the right back situation, it's been also coming out from the United camp. They are looking to potentially take back Ethan Laird from loan from QPR, Queen Park Rangers. He's been doing a madness. He's doing quite well over there, and I think that's a quite sensible thing to do as well. Why is that so? Because he's already on the books, and we've seen the likes of Garnacho developing super well under Erik ten Hag. So I see this one being a good backups option to Dalot, being an understudy. So I can sort of agree with that if that happens. And it's been reported also that, we are looking at Frimpong, we are looking at also Denzel Dumfries, but there's also, depending on the money situation, being like, Frimpong is quite cheap, 22, 25 million, while Denzel Dumfries is about 50, 60. So, it's a little bit of a cash balance, or you understand what I'm trying to say. You already have an academy player that's doing well in the championship, for Queen Park Rangers. Why not give it a shot and then address it in the summer window? That is a potential, people. And listen, this is pretty much all I have to bring to you today on this fantastic Monday. Listen, please like and subscribe. Let me know in the comments description below what you think, and I am looking forward to speak to you soon again.
Please, guys, like and subscribe, hit that notification button, and please sign up. See you later. Bye.